Right now at 8 o'clock, 2 early morning shootings, where they happened and how many people were injured. New suspect, the latest person arrested in connection to a Des Moines homicide, and what police say the suspects all have in common with the victim. And finding home in Iowa, why refugees are rushing to the United States, and the newfound struggle some immigrants are facing when they become Americans. And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us on KCCI 8 News This Morning Weekends. It is 8 o'clock on February 11th, 2017. And February's right, even though it may feel like spring out there. It's a pretty pleasant start to the day, Matinka.
It really.
Now to that breaking news we've been following overnight. 2 situations, both shootings. The first happened around 2:45 in the 2100 block of Forest Avenue. That's just east of Drake University. Police say 2 people were shot and are now in the hospital. We don't have any updates on their conditions this morning, but at first police say they were non-life threatening. There are no suspects in custody in this case. Now the second shooting happened just after 5 on the 1100 block of MLK. That's right before the interstate of 235. Police tell us they recovered shell casings at the crime scene. As of now, there are no reports of injuries. And right now, there are 3 people in Polk County Jail in connection to a Des Moines homicide case. Back on January 29th, Michael Huckleberry was found dead in his Twana Drive home. Monica Fagan, Sarah Saltz, and just recently located Ricky Haskell are all charged with first-degree robbery.
The whole focus of the investigation is the homicide, so that's the direction that we're driving. And I expect that we'll probably wrap that up before too long.
Police say the suspects knew Huckleberry, but they could not say how. Investigators questioned a 4th person, Rico Riley. He's been cleared in the case and is currently being held on unrelated charges.
The Polk County Sheriff's Office did receive information there could possibly be contraband entering the jail.
The Polk County Sheriff's Office is now investigating to find out if drugs are being brought into the Polk County Jail. A KCCI viewer wrote us saying a detention officer was fired and was selling drugs and tobacco to inmates. Authorities received similar information, but did not confirm whether an officer was fired. Right now, firefighters are investigating a house fire that killed a Benton couple.
Still trying to sink in. We just kind of beside ourselves. Not one loss, but 2. It's hard to take.
Linda and Bob Haley were found dead inside their home Friday. Their son, who you just heard from, Bob, says his parents didn't have time to make it out after the fire started at the front of the house. As of Friday, there have been 3 deaths in Iowa this year. During this time last year, there were 14 people who had died from fire-related injuries. A legal update now. Police officers can no longer stop and question drivers unless they have reasonable suspicion of a crime. That traffic stop order comes from a new ruling handed down by the Iowa Supreme Court on Friday. Well, warmer weather is exciting many Iowa drivers in need of a good car wash. We saw a lot of cars lining up at the car wash on Friday. It was a great day to get out and enjoy the outdoors and get a car wash. And today it sounds like it could almost be very similar. Matinka, already starting off on a warm note.
We are.
Also developing overnight. Right now we're following a deadly earthquake in the southern Philippines. The 6.5 quake happened late Friday night. At least 6 people are dead and more than 120 others injured. Seismologists say more than 100 aftershocks have hit the country so far this morning. The Philippines sits in the ring of fire where earthquakes frequently happen. Immigrants affected by President Donald Trump's travel ban are arriving to the United States and finding a new home right here in Iowa. It's sort of a moment of limbo for refugees like Yakub Apsowi. He's from Somalia, one of the 7 countries on President Trump's ban list. Apsowi was coming to the United States legally when the ban took effect. But a judge's ruling to temporarily block that ban changed his life. He and his family are now living in Des Moines.
You cannot imagine. You can't imagine how happy we are. By the way, you can't imagine how happy we are. All the families how happy we are. We can't imagine. After we received the land of America.
Apsowi says he understands terrorists prompted the ban, but that he too is trying to escape terrorism. The U.S. Committee for Refugees is now helping his family resettle in America. The travel ban is affecting new Americans. 71 immigrants became new citizens after a naturalization ceremony Friday in Cedar Rapids. Abdullah Trake and Mohammed Al-Absi are two of the country's newest citizens. They are both from Iraq, and the journey to America isn't proving easy for their grandma.
It's like ready to get her like her plane ticket to come here, and probably not going to be able to come in for another like 6 months maybe at top. So we're definitely a lot luckier.
The Washington Times reports that 77% of refugees coming into the United States right now are from those 7 Muslim-majority countries initially banned by the president. And Mr. Trump is still defending his executive order and planning a new one. That comes amidst a new controversy with his White House National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn. Reports claim he made calls to Russia before Election Day, discussing U.S. election sanctions. If true, that would be a legal violation. Trump's administration is not denying the call, and Democrats are calling for an investigation. Right now, the president is staying in Florida at what he calls his winter White House. It comes after a busy schedule at the nation's capital Friday. Craig Boswell has more.
The White House.
The 3-judge appeals court in San Francisco that upheld a decision to halt the president's ban is moving forward with a new action. One judge on that panel wants the entire 25-member bench to vote on whether a larger panel of judges should consider the ruling. We're also learning this morning that U.S. government lawyers want a challenge against the travel ban thrown out. When the ban took effect, 2 Iraqi men were detained at the JFK airport in New York. Later, the government granted them stay in America because they had ties with the U.S. military. Lawyers say reinstating the ban should be open for discussion, but the ACLU disagrees, saying the case is still relevant and should continue. Still to come, switching up the grocery game. How one Metro Hy-Vee is using technology to help out their customers in the checkout line. And giving back, how some Des Moines college students are helping one Urbandale family deal with grief.